Hey, what up, y'all? I am Blue. So I want to talk to y'all on what not to do if you're trying to grow and you're trying to make more money. All right, guys, before we get started, if you could give me a like, give me a follow, I appreciate it, guys. So one big mistake that I made, and I felt without a doubt that I lost money because of this mistake, was I stayed with one company too long. So let me explain. I'm not going to say the company name, but there was a specific company that I worked for, and I probably worked there for a good 7 years, maybe around there. 7 years or so, maybe even more, but I'm going to say around 7 years. And there was a time, probably within those 7 years, probably midway through, right? So I was like 3.5 years in, 4 years in. I did get you want to call it promotion, where I kind of moved from one position to the IT position. I used to be a warehouse lead, and I talked about this in my other video, so I'm not going to go too much details, but I ended up getting an offer from IT department to be part of their team, and I did. And then shortly after that, I ended up moving to the corporate office. So once I was in corporate office, I had a new set of management to kind of prove of what I'm capable of doing. So this would have been like in the middle of that 7 year span. And I did. First year, busting my ass. Like, I was working 10, 11, 12 hours a day, working Saturdays. I made sure like all of the time sensitive critical projects that we're working on, okay, it was a team, and so some of the project was like, all right, this person does this project, this person does this project, and then I work on this project. All of the stuff that was very urgent, time sensitive, or complex, they gave me those projects. And there were times where my plate was full of these projects, which was one of the reasons why I was working so many hours. But again, in my mind, I was like, I'm trying to move up the corporate ladder, right? I'm trying to get promoted. I'm trying to make more money. So I'm going to bust my ass. I did it for a year. Pretty much nothing happened, but hey, you did a good work. Good job. Then, of course, got a whatever raise they gave me, right? 3% raise or something. It was not a lot. Then the following year, continue to keep busting my ass, doing what I've been doing. Everything that people had to say was like always great things about my work. No promotion, no nothing. And just continue on for another year or two. And that's the mistake that I made. Because when I look back at it, after the first year of reproving myself, right? I say reproving myself because now the people that were looking at my work was executives, the CEO, upper management, directors. I was working directly with them, and they saw my work, and they saw the compliments that I got was always positive. Like, they saw, my CEO, for example, he used to come in every Saturday to just kind of catch up and then get caught up for the following week. And he seen me working every Saturday. We used to have conversations sometimes, just to kind of stop by. But we used to work, he saw what I was doing a lot of the time. And even with all of that, nothing happened. I never got a big promotion, never got a big raise. I only got a normal standard living increased rate, or whatever the hell they call it, that most people get. And that's why I say I lost money. Because after the first year of doing that, I should have stopped and be like, you know what? Okay, let me look for another job. Because there's no doubt in my mind, if I go looking for another job and try to get some, even if it's the same thing that I'm doing here, there's no doubt in my mind I would have got at least $15,000, maybe $20,000 more, in my opinion. I potentially could have got a management position and kind of in the field that I was working in. And I could have easily got $30,000 to $40,000 more. I think so, anyways. That's my opinion, but I think I could easily. Which means if I would have left after a year And instead of working another 2.5 or 3 years after that with the pay that I was getting, which in my mind was very, very little, um, I lost a lot of money. I mean, I easily lost probably who knows how much, 20 to 40,000 in those 3 years that I could have got more. I mean, that's over $100,000 that I could have probably got more if I would have just found another job, got another job somewhere else, and then would have been gone. Um, and that's the mistake that I made, and that's the mistake that I hope you don't make. Don't be in love with your current employer. I'm not saying that your current employer is bad, but I would say that most, I'm not going to say all, there's some exceptions, but most employers are don't really care too much to that level. They're going to try to screw you if they can. They're going to try to lowball you if they can. If they could get away on paying you very little for that position, they're going to, because they benefit from it. That means if you could, if you, especially if you have 100 employees, and if you're able to pay the majority of the 100 employees at the bottom percentile of that position, dude, they're saving thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars because of it. They are. Um, so don't be in love with your employer. Do what you got to do. Like, do good work. I'm not saying go do bad work. Do good work. Do, if you're going to bust your ass, there's nothing wrong with that. But be aware though, man, as well. Like, even if you bust your ass and you do everything right, doesn't mean you're gonna get a promotion. Doesn't mean you're gonna get big raise. Even if they promise you, like, hey, when something pops up, we'll give it to you. Be aware that may not happen either, man. They may not give it to you. They may give it to somebody else. They may bring somebody else from the outside. They may feel like, well, we need more outside employees, to kind of bring a different view or bring different ideas. And of course, you know what happens? A lot of the times, these outside employees end up taking the management roles or director roles that pop up. So now you busting your ass trying to get promoted. Well, you can't get promoted now because they gave that job to somebody else. Like, that happens, man. So because of that, don't be in love with your employer, even if things seems good and so on. If you're trying to make more money, your best option, here's your best option. Again, a very, very small percentage of people could stay in their current role and actually get promoted and move up and make more money. Small percentage. The majority of the people, what you need to do, you need to leave. So just like the story that I told you was me, eventually I did leave. It took me a long time to leave, though. I should have left after that first year of me kind of reproving myself to the executive CEO and getting all the good feedback. After that, that's where I should have either got at least, even if I didn't get a promotion, I should have got a reasonable salary increase, which didn't happen. So I stayed another 2.5, 3 years after that. When eventually I did leave, I went to another company, and the company that I went to pretty much paid me over $20,000. Again, like, that's what I should have done in the beginning. I should have left like 2.5, 3 years sooner to get that 20K increase. But because I did not leave, again, I stayed kind of hoping the position opens up, hoping that they'll throw me a bone, pretty much, hoping that I'll get that promotion. Nothing happened. So eventually I left. When I left, automatically got like a 20K raise. It was more than a 20K. I believe it was like 22, 23K raise, all right off the top. Straight up. And then that company that I worked for, I think I was there for like 2.5 years. And same thing with that company. I busted my ass. I did everything. And I was somewhat in line for a promotion. Like, my boss was vouching for me to get promoted. But just the way that company works, in order for them to promote me to a management position, they wanted you to have a bachelor's degree and this and that. And so those of you who are not aware of, I don't have a degree. I don't have a degree. So because of that, They could not promote me. They actually told me, "Hey, if you go get your degree, we'll promote you." And either way, what ended up happening is, I think a year later after that or so, I found another job, and I left. And when I left, that new job paid me $25,000 more than what I was getting paid at that company. So just like that, I went from company A to company B, 23K increase in salary. 2.5 years later, I went from company B to company C, $25,000 increased salary. Dude, that's over $50,000 already, or close to $50,000 increase right there in the span of like 3 years or so. And that is your best bet, man. That is my advice to you. If you actually want more money, if you're actually trying to move up, the likeliness of you moving up in the company you work for today is going to be very, very slim. I'm not saying you can't do it, and I'm not saying that there are not some people that are able to move up, because there are going to be some. You are going to see some, but all the time it's like, why is it that's only some? It could be different reasons, man. Favoritism. It could be maybe it's somebody who just very attractive, good looking, and they're like, hey, they're just very friendly with everybody, and they just have that charismatic, vibes to them, and maybe that's the reason why. I don't know, man. I mean, who knows? But what I'm saying is that you're gonna find a small percentage of people that are able to. The majority of the people, you're not gonna be able to, man. Even if you stay there and you get promoted within, most likely you're gonna get the low end of the stick. Even if they promote you, let's say you're a software developer, you get promoted to a senior software developer. There's a real good chance that they may only give you 10K salary increase, maybe $15,000 salary increase. While if you're a software developer, you go to another company with a senior title, they will probably give you $30,000 to $40,000 more. That's the difference I'm talking about right there. So because of that, I would recommend, for the purpose of you making more money, that is a route that I would go. Now, unless you work for a company that you feel very strongly that, man, this company really is fair. Maybe it's like a family type company. They're real fair with everything. They have been there for you. If when you needed some help, maybe you had mental health or something of that sort, and they're like, hey, they went out of the way to make sure that you still got paid. You stayed home for a few months. You get therapy or what? I don't. I'm just putting some. I mean, unless you work for a company that you truly feel sincerely do care about you, and maybe there just is no opportunity there to move up, but they're paying you at least a decent salary, like a reasonable, competitive salary. Then that's different, man. It's up to you. If you want to stay there in that environment, which it's a good environment, compared to moving somewhere else, getting more money, and you don't know what the environment is. That's the decision you need to make. But I'm talking about for the people that you're trying to move up in your career, you're trying to make more money, and the chances of you doing that in your current role is gonna be very slim. That's all I'm trying to say. I made the mistake of staying too long when I was an employee for one of the companies that I work for. It's too long, and if I would have cut the cord sooner, there's no doubt that I would have made more money from then to now. And the reason why I say that, because once I decided to leave and I went to another company, right, just like that, my salary increased by 23,000. And then once I was in that company for about 2.5 years, and the only reason why I left was because they could not promote it. They could not promote me unless I end up getting my degree. They wanted to promote me. My boss was pushing for the promotion, but pretty much HR came back and said, we need a college degree, which is stupid. If I'm doing all the work already to begin with, and I already shown that I could do all the work to begin with, why not promote them for those purposes? But because they have the checkbox that says, oh, every manager needs to have a degree. Okay, that's all it is. It's just a checkbox you check off. And because of that, they're a more old school type company, I think, the way they operate in that manner. I decided to leave. And then, of course, by me leaving somewhere else, just like that, I got a 25K salary increase in my new job. That is where you're going to make the most money, man. That's the reality. I mean, it kind of sucks that it has to be that way. I don't get it. why employers do that to their employees, especially the good ones, man. The real good ones that you know that are going out of their way. Why not give them a reasonable salary increase when you know these are key employees? Why not promote them when you can? And I feel like sometimes there's the mindset of, man, their work is so good at what they're doing. We don't want to promote them because now we're gonna lose that quality. We're gonna lose that employee, right? We're gonna lose the work that he's doing. But that's where you and an employee needs to be like, you know what? I'm gonna go anyways. So that by them not promoting me, they're gonna lose me. And that's a lesson that employers needs to learn as well. If you're really doing that to your employees, preventing them from growing, because in your mind as an employer, you're trying to keep them in that role because they do so good of work. Eventually, you're gonna lose some good ones. And as they leave, you're not going to have them at all. At least if you promote them to a manager, you still have them there. Once they leave, you don't even have them there at all. You got to hope that you get another good employee that comes in. So that was my mistakes that I made. Hopefully you don't make those mistakes. Hopefully you make better decisions if you're working. Hopefully if you're in a position today at a company you work on today, and maybe that's your thinking, I'm going to bust my butt. I'm going to, just work crazy hours to kind of prove that I deserve a raise or deserve a promotion. Keep in mind, if you do that, don't do it too long. I will say do that no more than a year. Once you show them over a year and they don't, at the minimum, give you a decent salary increase because of that, you need to start looking for another role, man. Go to another company, and I almost promise you, man, I guarantee that your chances of getting a drastic salary increase is going to be more likely than not. That's what happened to me. Once I decided to leave, that company, again, just like that, 23K wage increase. So once I decided to leave that company, and I didn't leave just because I'm trying to get more money. I left because they couldn't promote me without me getting my degree. That's what they mentioned. We want to promote you, but in order for us to promote you, you got to get a degree. Because of that, I decided, you know what? I'm going to leave. And I did. I found another job, 25K salary increase. In the matter of no more than 3 years, I pretty much increased my salary by 50K. That's a big jump, man. And again, you could do the same thing too, but you're going to have to take the steps and actually most likely go find another job, apply for another company, and then you'll be able to move up the ladder that way and get, higher wage increases that way as well. That's just the reality. So hopefully you learn from my mistake, because that was a mistake I made, and you could do better than what I did. Hopefully this helps. Give me a like if you can. Give me a follow. Appreciate everything. Peace.